Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wasn't that beautiful? When enough of us is awakened, we will open the earth. I want to just open up your mics for a moment and let everybody clap your hands or say something or shout out or just release something out of your mouth.
Amen, amen, amen,
Amen.
amen.
We are powerful.
Glory,
We are
hallelujah.
I am
We are
Yes,
powerful.
hallelujah.
Amen.
Yes, thank you, Father God.
Hallelujah.
Amen, amen, amen.
Hallelujah.
We have power.
Glory to God,
Hallelujah.
hallelujah.
Power.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here tonight, everyone. And thanks for bringing the presence with you of who you are. Excuse me. My voice is recovering again. It was kind of gone for a few days. It's recoming. It's coming back. It's coming back. Come on, Jethro. And it's good to see all of you here. It's great seeing you all dance out there, Leslie and Patricia, and maybe others that I did not see dancing. It was just beautiful. And some of you I know were dancing in your mind. Can you guys hear me okay out there? Okay, great. So I know some of you were like dancing in your mind and you were like, and then there are some of you that are probably wondering, why are they up there just doing that? Is this because we're free? It's part of our celebration, our worship, moving energy, and all of the wonderful things that happens when we move our bodies and with music and with sound and flowing and just joining in with everything that is, bringing all that is into this space right here. And it's so powerful. Praise God. I believe that you guys had a great weekend, hopefully. And there are a lot of people that's going through several, issues physically. I've been on the phone several times today with people that are going through some physical challenges and things happening. And it's just, and we're just praying and praying later too. But I just want to just interject that so that you will be able to hear clearly what the Spirit is saying tonight. So don't stumble over words, don't stumble over phrases that you may or may not be familiar with, but have an open mind. Okay. Thank you, Sharonda. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here. And, I really appreciate everything that you've all said about me. I feel I'm a vessel, and I, from a very young age, sort of surrendered myself to, I had a very powerful experience at about 4 years old, and I sort of realized how much bigger things were, and that there was something within me that was guiding me. And I like to still call it the hand that guides me, because I believe it's always there. And I was fortunate enough to have an incredible grandmother who I could tell, if I saw the other side and angels, and talk to her about my experiences. And so I was very fortunate to have a safe space, to have someone who could hear me and could hold space for me. So I really owe everything to that woman, because she's amazing, and she's always with me now in spirit. So very special lady. But I was in DC when I met Sharonda, and well, actually, I was in Northern Maryland, and I got a message to get into my car and drive to a bank an hour and a half away in DC. I don't like cities. I avoid them. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? And it was such a compulsion to do so. So I said to my 3 children, get your shoes. You've got 5 minutes. Let's go. And I ran into this beautiful, just wonderful woman who graciously is just walking right there at this moment in time. I had gone to the bank. I was like, that doesn't make sense. I really don't get it. I come out and I just see her in this wonderful caftan. And she actually reminded me of my grandmother. And she had gave off this radiant light and this warmth. And And I saw her walking, and so I just sort of helped her walk a little bit down the road, and we got to talking, and I found out she was a doctor right before. And she was at Subway, mind you, and she said they couldn't take cards. So she went into the bank to get cash, and I had just popped out at that moment. And so I saw her there, and I thought, of course they take hard. How? So anyway, so she said to me, I'm a doctor of philosophy. Because I said, a doctor of what? And I said, we need to talk. And so we did. And I was really at a low moment in my life, to be honest. It's been a very, very long journey, as you all know, as light workers. We experience many challenges along the way, and life humbles us that way and keeps us, standing at the doorway between shadow and light, and bringing forth light and being in an experience. But sometimes we really just get really strong intuitive nudges, and listening to that more and more is so important, because I really was questioning everything in my life at this point, except for God. I've never questioned God, but when she came into my life and we described the same vision, and we described the work we had done, and the experiences, and near-death experiences, and the transformational rebirths we had experienced, and had brought us to an awakening, that we were part of a small piece of a global effort that's really taking place during a very significant time on the planet right now. And so at a time when I really, really needed someone the most, all my family's overseas, I hadn't seen anyone I really knew in person for years. I was isolated for a very long time. And so she came to me like this angel, and I just found such a kindred spirit. So thank you so much. I'm just so honored to even be here, and the glory of God is amazing to have brought us together. So what I was talking with Prophet John and Sharonda with is something that's very sacred and very ancient, and it's really been buried at the Kashmiri region. It's a 60,000-year-old tradition. I've meditated for just over about 20 years, and I've tried many modalities and spent a lot of time with Buddhist monks and various other sects and mystics, as well as shamans, and really, really deep dived into many different realms. And when I experienced this type of meditation, I realized that I had moved my energy enough as a child, and before I knew about chakras and things, to my third eye and crown area, and when he guided me, I met a teacher. I was in Dubai, ironically, that came from Kashmir. And I was at a low moment in my life. So this is when we surrender and open, and everything flows when we have to surrender. And so I met this gentleman who's an incredible guru. And in my opinion, even though we are all our own gurus, we have many great teachers. And he took me into the 8th chakra. He took me into samadhi. And I felt my 8th chakra, and I began to connect with my ancestors. I started to work with my astral body in a way that moved me so deeply, and even does now as I connect to those moments. And I was able, in my grandmother's last years, to be able to be a liaison and understand things I was getting in spirit, so that we could move karmic, ancestral, energetic debris. But before I go into that, I just kind of want to give you a bit of background about myself. If really these are just our experiences, and I don't identify with anything externally that I've experienced. I more just feel I'm an observer of that experience. But I grew up in South Africa. I was one of the first in our generation to ever be allowed. We had racial segregation, and apartheid ended when I was in kindergarten. So we were this celebratory generation of coming together for the first time in the history of our country. We were segregated and not even allowed to coexist with so-called different races. For me, I believe as one human race. We might all have different heritage and background and melanin and all of that, but we are one. And I truly believe that. And I feel that having an individual like Nelson Mandela and being born into that moment in time where I got to see the beauty and the diversity coexist in a celebratory way really inspired me for the rest of my life. And so I grew to meet many people from different backgrounds and thought, well, I grew up Christian, and I loved to go to church, and I used to see auras and think it was, I was always searching. But as I spoke to my friends, I realized there was a lot of concentration on differences and some even frustration around that. And for me, I started to more look into how we had similarities. And I started to think, well, if there is this one God that we're all praying to, or in some religions, there's multiple gods, but essentially that we're connecting to a creator. I know in my heart that that creator is love, and that creator wants unity. And I knew that deep within my soul. And I went about wanting to explore that because I truly believed it. And so I moved to England when I was about 12 years old. And I went from having a very wild upbringing and being able to run around outside with my, shoes off and things like that, to moving to an all-girls school in the British countryside. And it was such a shock to the system. But what it really gave me an understanding of was the disparity and the complete shift. And it was the realization, and just having that experience was very humbling, because I came from a country that's extremely impoverished and there's a huge economic disparity. And I remember coming to a different environment, and in South Africa, we have extreme wealth and extreme poverty. And I was just surrounded by this different environment and thought to myself, okay, and I started to meet more and more people. And I was so lucky because they were Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, and we started to have these conversations. And for years, the girls would all get together and we'd have our debates, and I just found it so enriching. And so I still very much suppressed the truth of who I was outside of a few small circles of people. And I was a medium, and I would heal and work on my teacher's energy. And I don't think they really knew what was going on, but I think all healers and empaths can relate to this desire to transform dark into light and to bring forth more love. And so this sort of set me on a journey to go to Egypt. And at 16, I went to Egypt, and I had an undeniable experience that forced me to no longer suppress my gifts, right? And which is what I feel that we are all blessed to have, these wonderful gifts that are unexpected but come through us. And I was in Egypt holding a column next to the pyramids in Giza, and I just saw Roman soldiers, and I felt this death and rebirth moment in myself. Like I felt like I died of pain and was reborn again, in a way, like, oh my gosh, this realization, what just happened? And I went into the pyramid in Giza, and I said to my family, that is not what I believe it is. I do not believe it's a tomb. That is not my truth. And my parents are quite studious, academic, individuals, very practical and well seasoned in that arena. And so, I'm this wild child who's intuitive and floaty, and they love their structure and order. And they're just thinking, what is this child, on here? But later on, I came to find that would really be at the epicenter of a journey of discovery and spending time in sacred and ancient lands that pull us as an inner mystic into deeper into questioning. And so if you really, really discover your inner, if we spend enough time really sitting with ourselves and exploring not only the things that we're searching outside of ourselves, but also very much what's sitting within. And as above, so below. And really, I started to study techniques that would bring me into myself more deeply. And I believe that's what we're all here to do. I think that after having a significant experience where my Kundalini energy started to come up, and I feel that it's not discussed enough how deeply painful that journey is. You know, the journey of awakening and enlightenment is very much that it's shining a light on the darkness. And I believe, you know, that as spirit, which is what we all are, what is the body without spirit? It's matter. And that matter has memory, and it has DNA, and it has information. But I truly believe that we are here to come and embody that matter with deep love and deep compassion. And right now we are at, and if John, Prophet John, if you could just share a slide for me, I think it might be number 2 or 3,
Okay.
if possible.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wanted to sort of address is the significance of the time that we're in. The information I'm sharing has been hidden for a very, very, very long time, and it's starting to surface within all faiths and mystic sects. But this is a very, very powerful energy that's moving through us right now and available to us right now. And we've got, so if you could just do the triangle one, I think it might be the next slide, if possible. And I might actually, what I might do is, I have it in a book here. I can't really see myself too well, but, oh yes, perfect, thank you. So I know it's not super clear, and I sent him some last minute things here, so excuse me for the messiness of it, but as you can see, there's that portal system. And so we are breaking through the barriers of Saturn, talking about what's happening with Turkey and Uranus, and this shift and change that's happening. As we all know, as Kundalini energy moves up, what it's really doing is shining light on the energetic and karmic debris that we hold within our body. And it's moving it away, just like the earth is currently shifting those layers of the ego and the shells of the ideas and the identities of who we think we are, our societal programming, our karmic ancestral trauma, you know, and all of the programming that we take in, and removing those shells to come, and that debris that we carry and identify as the self, and really acknowledge that we are the spirit embodying this physical being. And that comes with the prism of light, right? So we've got the chakras, we've got the 7 chakras, which represents Saturn, 7-year cycles. And there is a breakthrough beyond that, but we have to master these first. And right now we're at the pinnacle of the age of the divine masculine. We are inviting the divine feminine, and yet we are very much at the top end of the age of Pisces. And when we say the age of Pisces, I'm sure as many of you might have already heard or studied or know, we are coming out of 3 ages that represent the lower 3 chakras. The root chakra, which is Taurus, you know, the age after the fall of Egypt and agriculture, and the idea of ownership and security in this root chakra age. And so we notice that in the age of Aries, which is the Torah age, the bull was sort of demonized in some way as the old age, right? And as we brought in the age of Aries, and you know, Aries is movement and breaking free and self-expression. And so we see that in the Old Testament, and we see that during texts of that time that represent that. So, you know, this exploration and both the negative and positive traits of each one, right? Building, Taurus is building, but it's also can be this idea of ownership and full sense of external security that, you know, is going to make us happy. Yes, it's good to build. However, then we move into Aries, and Aries, you know, is this forward moving energy, but we know that that was a time of many atrocities that were committed globally, but it was, you know, also a time of exploration and renaissance and all of this sort of that sort of energy of the time, right? And then we moved into Pisces. So I'm not talking about that renaissance, I'm talking about that, you know, revival of exploration at that time in Aries. And so then in Pisces came the sort of demonizing of the goat, which is representative of Aries. So now we're at the pinnacle point of Pisces, which is what Christ, Yeshua, brought through. He brought through the Piscean energy, and the positive attributes of Pisces is it's intuitive and spiritual and flexible and just this beautiful, loving, gentle energy. And then on the other side, it can be controlling. It can represent hierarchical structures, and we see that in what's happening now. And at this critical time where Pluto has spent the last 8 years in Capricorn, and Pluto is death, rebirth, and transformation and resurrection. And now we're at this pinnacle point of the end of Pisces, and things are getting shaken up. And we're inviting the divine feminine, or as I like to say, the Holy Grail. We say the Father, the Spirit, and the Holy Ghost. Well, let's not, I don't know how I feel about the Holy Ghost, because personally for me, I feel it's the Holy Grail. It's the divine feminine. And in order to invite the divine feminine within us, we need to honor the divine masculine. Mm-hmm. And right now we're living in a culture that is systematically attacking that in many different ways. And we've got to realize this is our energy system. It's masculine and feminine. It's yin and it's yang. And this is about empowering the divinity in us all. However we want to express our masculine and feminine, that's up to the individual, but we don't need anything outside of ourselves to have that. We very much have this energy system that's running through us. And if we want to invite the divine feminine and we have to open our hearts, and we need to open up to our truth and speak our truth, right? Our throat chakra, to ignite our intuitive in order to open the crown, which then frees us from the cycles of suffering, because we can go into the 8th chakra samadhi and do karmic ancestral healing and cleansing. And just removing debris in a very powerful way. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very passionate about honoring our divine masculine and divine feminine. And it really is about a time of bringing to the surface these Capricornian hierarchical and the negative aspects, right? Things surface, just like you put oil in water, it's going to surface sometimes, right? And so everything is, the gunk is surfacing right now. And light workers right now are the midwives that are rebirthing. Mm-hmm. We are here during an incredible portal age, where we can invite the divine feminine if we honor the divine masculine. And so we cannot just embody the toxic feminine and say, I want the divine masculine, or embody the toxic feminine and say, I want the divine feminine. It doesn't work that way. It's respecting and honoring and transcending beyond duality, whether it's for race, religion, gender, personal beliefs, political, whatever it is that they're going to try, and when I say they, the outside is going to try to pull us apart from each other. When in reality, micro to macro, just like the nucleus, of our galaxy could be the sun, and we have tiny cells within us. We are multi-dimensional, and we exist on multiple levels of awareness. And we are given a unique moment right now to come back into alignment with the truth of who we are and who we always have been. And this is our divine birthright. Mm-hmm. So if the Creator created us to create, are we not therefore creation creating? Mm-hmm. And if we are creation creating, then what we think we create. And so what we think, act, intend, this is karma. Every thought, every movement, every action. And to be able to observe ourselves as a conscious observer, it's messy, it's ugly, life is messy and ugly, because we came here to transform dark to light, so it's going to be. And we've all had moments where we're going, God, why am I being put through this? What did I do in another life? Why am I going through this? And oftentimes as healers, we realize that the greatest suffering brings the greatest teachers, because we learn to navigate our shadow, and we allow ourselves to compassionately observe our pain, our karmic ancestral attributes. When I say something unconscious that's passed on from generations, and my children have me self-reflect on that, and we have a conversation, because we're in it together. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking to do the work. We already are perfect. We are souls. We are spirit meeting itself in human form in a divine expression of absolute diversity. And that is so beautiful, because there is only one you in this world, and that is your superpower. That's what you came here for. And only each individual on this planet can actually stay on their path and be true to themselves by honoring their authenticity, honoring their inner truth, not going out of equilibrium with this sense of balance, which creates this incredible vortex, which ignites Christos, which we can talk about a little bit later. But the point is that right now we are being called to do some of the hardest work we have ever done. And it is always darkest before the dawn. There are so many distractions, segregations, there's a lot more in common between the people than the politicians, yet the politicians represent the people. And so we're constantly given this idea that we're separate. And in actuality, when others suffer, we suffer. Because what I have experienced in the oneness, which I've experienced such bliss and oneness and surrender, I realized we are all one. And I experienced that for myself in such a profound way that I realized there is no separation, that our perceived enemies, or those who have done us so wrong and, perceivably in this dualistic world of right and wrong, but in actuality, everything that happens for our personal growth. And it's what our soul chose, because we came here and we knew we could do it. And so God offers us our shadow, our family's ancestral trauma, and gives us the ability to recognize from a young age often many things that we go, well, I won't do that. And then we find ourselves unconsciously reenacting these patterns. That's doing the work. That's diving in. And this is where the idea of resurrection comes in. Because resurrection, even as spiritual beings, we hold ourselves to such a high level of accountability. I need to be some idea of something out of me. No, we don't. We just need to be really real with ourselves. And in a world that profits from our insecurities and that gives us every reason to believe that the external will give us happiness, as opposed to emanating, expressing, and enjoying, rather than coming from lack that's thinking that something will fill that void. That void is there for a reason. And that void is where prana comes through, and it moves each and every single one of us. And I have come home to, in my opinion, the kingdom within, where all is love. And I truly believe everything is love and the rest is social unconditioning. But with that said, we need to understand that we come here to stand at the threshold of, I believe, this is just my opinion, the threshold of light and dark, because we are, just like the stars are in the sky or a baby grows in a womb, we are growing into space. We are moving into a space that has not yet been created. And so we're going to fall and we're going to trip and we're going to find it difficult and it's going to be challenging. And truly, it's our spirit that is guiding us. And so I believe every single being on this planet is capable of achieving a heightened state of awareness where they can, and where we can heal ourselves, and where we can become a vessel and allow the light in every cell in our body. But this is a very, very ancient process, and there's a lot to be learned about it. Because in the ancient times, they had many shamans and space holders. They had sages, and they had a lot of community and tribe and a sense of security in that sense. And many of the light workers being born now, or have been born, have not necessarily had that support, and they've truly had to navigate with their own truth and authenticity and find themselves despite not feeling like they might belong in this world at times. But we very much do. Like I said, we're the midwives of this time. And so if we can clear our energy centers and merge our divine masculine and feminine, we create the Star of David.
Yes.
And the Star of David is one of the most sacred symbols that we could, and one of the greatest gifts that we were given. And so there is a mechanism for meditate. There's a practice. It's a karma yoga meditative practice where we open up each chakra as a lotus bud that grows through the mud and opens as a lotus flower, and we clear energy with divine supreme pure consciousness. So whoever you connect with is feeling as this is your creator and inviting it up. And when we do this in a certain manner and we're able to balance our masculine and feminine, we're able to experience merhaba. And in an Arabic, merhaba means welcome. Merkaba is the divine feminine and masculine arriving. And once we experience this, this is like a vehicle that transcends time and space. And it gives us access to become a conscious observer. And so if you could switch to the next slide, I believe. Here we go. And I know that's not the best picture, but this book, and I can't see myself on my camera, so I'm hoping you can all see this clearly. But Tarot of the Spirit, and I was very scared of tarot. I've always been into angels and things, and then I decided to deep dive into it and give it a chance. And what I've realized is 21 steps to transcendence. The 21st card represents ascension. And actually, tarot and the archetypes helps us understand where we are and what we're dealing with within our journey, so that we can understand the archetypes and the shadow work, or the healing that needs to happen and what we're embodying. And so we're constantly going into this sort of journey of self-discovery. And so why I bring up tarot is because tarot comes from the Kabbalah. Yes. The Kabbalah comes from the Torah. Just amazing amount of knowledge that I was scared for years. I started doing angel card readings at 14, just I was a medium, but I wanted to play with cards, and it took me until my late 20s to have the courage, because I heard so many bad things about tarot and I wanted to be a good girl, because at that time I didn't understand how this concept of duality works, and so I opened up to it, and I learned quite a bit. But this book is very much worth getting, because it comes with meditations, it comes with numerological understanding, astrological archetypes. And right now we're at a pivotal point. And when we think about what they say and what was written in the Bible and in the Quran around the time of Gog and Magog, and the breakthroughs of the Capricorn structure into this new Aquarian age of the divine feminine and the heart age. And a very good friend of mine, as I was having great heartbreak, said to me, well, if your heart doesn't break, then how will it open? And it really made me sit with myself and think, oh my goodness, this is my ego shell, right? This is my ego shell. And we think about what's happening on the planet right now, and we're having this breakthrough, and the earth is shaking off energy as we are, and as a collective, we are one with her. And so I want to discuss a little bit about Christos, and that journey sort of begins with what I referenced in Egypt. Now, the tabernacle was the exact measurements, so to speak, as the unit inside of the pyramid. And if we think of the symbology that was given to us by our forefathers, our ancestors, for this time, something unbreakable and unbeatable, and just absolutely so extraordinary that even if they did try to completely smash it up, someone was going to protect at least some of what was left. And we are so gracious and lucky to have this. But this symbology is talking about an invitation. It's a longing for the divine feminine, and it's a longing to bring that in. And so as we explore ourselves through layers and we uncover our shadow aspects and lovingly release them with compassion, we start to judge less what's going on with others and project less, because after all, everyone's our mirrors. And, you know, when we are triggered, that means there's something unhealed there. There's some trauma that's sort of needing to come up through the body. And this is what's happening on a collective scale as well right now. So with Christos and Christ consciousness and Kundalini awakening, it's referred to in Hinduism and Shaivism as Shakti and Shiva. And when we look at the cross, they talked about Mary and Shakti Mar, and Mar representing the ocean and representing the feminine, where the name Mary comes from, really. And at the base of the cross, and the cross is a representation of the meeting place between the divine and the physical. And so Christ consciousness, Jesus came through, and I believe he was an Essene. And so they had an innate awareness of healing capabilities, Reiki and healing touch. And they were very, very secretive about what they did. And so it was a pretty big deal, I believe, based on the story. I'm reading a book right now called The Mystical Life of Jesus. And this is about the Essenes, and where the Nazarenes were. And I'm studying a lot about ley lines, and I've gone to a lot of sacred sites to meditate there as well, including Mount Sinai and a few other places. And I think that there's a lot more clues as to what type of man came forward to be the representative, to be the Messiah of the coming age, and of bringing in this Pisces energy of absolute love, unconditional love, forgiveness. And that is how we truly clear our chakras, by forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, and working through our karmic ancestral debris within each of these energy centers so that we can feel a sense of clarity. But what goes up must come down. And during a very unique time, each month, we experience a significant moment where the moon is in our sun sign. And so this is referred to, and talking of the white horse that was referred to in your lovely discussion before, in our last masterclass, and how this is connected to our pineal gland, and the seahorse is connected to our pineal gland. And some Native Americans have talked about visions of a white horse. And so there is this awakening, these wings that we get within the crown chakra. This is the white horse. This is Pegasus. Yes. It is our wings. When we are the six-pointed star, and we are using our energy correctly and balancing it properly, and using our body the way it was originally able to be and intended to be, when we do this, we awaken our wings. And our wings are talked about often within many of the ancient texts. And so, truthfully, the awakening of the divine masculine and feminine, and the complete emergence of that, comes together and creates a vehicle for manifestation and healing that takes us beyond the 7-year cycles of Saturn. And this is significant because in the Bible it says fall 7 times and get up 8, sorry. And 7, he healed Mary Magdalene of 7 demons. That's her chakra systems.
Yes.
7 is a prominent number because it is mastery of the mystical, and it's necessary before we go into a certain state of consciousness, I believe. That said, many people around the globe are experiencing astral travel and spontaneously experiencing this, especially some wonderful gifted children and individuals I've met. And we're starting to explore the multidimensional nature of who we are, beyond just the 3D and duality, because we're able to become the observers of ourselves and therefore others. And so this is a very, very significant time to really bring our karma to the forefront and cleanse it. And that is because our ancestral DNA down to its bone level is coming to the surface right now as Pluto burns away and transforms all of these old archaic structures in order to invite in the divine feminine. And so this is not about masculine or feminine in terms of gender. This is about the masculine and feminine within ourselves and the embodiment of that, and how relationships often bring us into balance. You know, oftentimes one is more rational, one is more intuitive, and there's a flow and an ebb and a flow, and that can switch at times. But we're all called to come to wholeness by finding reflections of ourselves and others. And the more that we can access self-love and stillness, to be with the self, to truly have no distractions, to become mindless, and to allow the mind to be a channel between spirit and the body. Because we have our higher consciousness, our conscious waking mind, and our subconscious reptilian or amygdala brain with our ancestral programming and all of that. And so when we ignite some, samadhi or this eighth chakra awakening, we bring energy back into the back of the head, and this gets channeled through the third eye. And this is part of this process of breaking through fear. And this is the most important thing I would say, is that fear is the opposite of love. Mm-hmm. And so we're either coming from unconditional love and faith, regardless of external circumstances, or we are coming from fear. And when we come from fear, we lower our frequency, and it's okay, because sometimes that part of us is needed to keep us safe. And, we're still in a transitional phase, but we are coming to a time right now where what is available to us in terms of raising the frequency of the collective consciousness during a time that represents upheaval and breaking away of restrictions and transformation and change. And so we need to welcome that with surrender, and we need to be able to stand at the doorway of perception and not see things as good and bad. We need to not separate ourselves from our brothers and sisters, because we truly are all one, and we're all walking each other home. And if we can come home to our truth in ourselves, which is love and gives us access to our greater spirit, right? We are able to then bring that to each other. And this is what unity and the coming together of all these beautiful ancient texts now is quite significant. What I would also like to mention is my travels have taken me on a strange and interesting journey. After England, I moved to the United States on the East Coast, and then I went to South Africa and Scotland, London, Dubai, and back to the West Coast, Portland, California, back to the East Coast to go meet Sharonda. And then I left literally a week or two after I met her. So I think, that was quite amazing. And I've come here and I've met a population who has given me some very interesting information, and I was intuitively drawn to. And they are gypsies who have told me that, and are working with rabbis because they found a DNA match, and they believe that they are the lost Jewish tribe. And so many mystics have come forward, and this is starting to sort of gain traction. But when you put the spokes on the wheel of those who continue to walk the earth and found home within themselves and not within an external factor, and that they were the mystics. And during the Holocaust, actually, Jewish and Gypsies were the group that was targeted, and they weren't really spoken of. But when you merge the two flags together, which is being done in Israel right now, of the Star of David and the spokes on the wheel, we're looking at movement, we're looking at awakening, and we're looking at people coming home. And I put this out as a theory, and I resonate deeply with what I've been guided to do and who I've been guided to meet. And everyone has been so incredibly humble, and I'm so honored for each soul who's brought pieces of the puzzle together. But I believe that we are currently in a time of coming home to ourselves. And if we cannot honor our truth and our authenticity and come home to ourselves, we will be swept in every direction possible by those who want to create our truth for us. And it's not about negativity or anything like that. We know that other people are experiencing archetypes of, manipulation, pain, the victor, the victim. We've all embodied many of these, whether in this lifetime or many others. So it's not about judgment, but it's about going, this is my truth. I worked to get to this frequency and to access this level of conscious knowingness and light within myself. And I'm going to stand true to that. And when we know who we are, we cannot be deceived. We cannot be told who to be or who we are, because we know who that is. And that's a diverse array of beautiful beings who come from the same source and are all walking each other home. So I will be happy to share some sources for incredible meditations I use. I have a teacher, Karma Guru Sumant Kaul, and he is in Kashmir in India. And he is all about mastering the divine masculine and feminine. Very tough teacher at the beginning, and I've learned so much from him, just through his embodiment. And so I want to thank him and also the journey that began. My like I mentioned, my mother was very studious and academic, but when she was pregnant with me, went and spent time swimming in the Sea of Galilee and climbed up and spent time there, and then just for a girls' trip, and then came back to South Africa. And I feel I've got a great connection with that land ever since I was probably in utero, unbeknownst to her. But I think it's just incredible. And I think, if we look at what Israel is, and we look at what Babylon is, and we look at what is available to us as we move up the 33 vertebrae, and as we move into a higher conscious awareness within ourselves and support each other in that journey, that we will experience one of the most incredible and beautiful awakenings. And as we hold space for the next generation who are incredibly gifted, incredibly intuitive, incredibly multidimensional, and incredibly sensitive. And so as we heal our own karma and hold space for the next generation, we need to be gentle with ourselves and with each other, and to stand at the doorway of perception and understand dark and light as part of what we're here to transcend, and to just remind ourselves to be the observers, both of ourselves and others, without judgment, and just bringing forth our truth, our light, and what we're guided to do from our heart space, if we allow ourselves to unconditionally accept that. So thank you. I hope I didn't rant. I'm very nervous. I don't usually do things like this. So I hope that I covered, what's meaningful to me, and in a way that was comprehensible to, easy to understand. But I just want to thank you all, and just sort of bring up the significance of this time, and to thank you for having me here, and I wish you all many blessings on your journey. So thank you for having me.
That was
I'm very grateful.
that was awesome. Your charts weren't finished. There were some other images there, but that's okay. Can you hear me? Oh, keep yourself unmuted.
If you would like to share them, we can. If we have some time, if you want to, I
Okay,
can touch on
if you
them.
want to go, let's just look at them and see. It's still early, everybody, right? It's still early. So let's just see what else is on those charts. Hang on one second. And I can, just in case there's something else you want to bring forth, that was awesome. And then she's going to be open for Q&A in case someone has a question or something. Okay, here we go. Let me know where you want to stop. in case.
Okay, so.
How about there?
Oh, actually, can we go back to that last one? Because I wanted to mention something about that. I know it's very, very tiny writing.
There?
Yes. And so it talks about the layers. And so each of those represents eight layers. And I'm going to pull it up in my book because I can't read that. So I'm sorry for sending such tiny images, but this is the tarot spiral and the 10 gates of consciousness. I actually believe that there's 12, and I prefer to follow 12 sphere astrology. I mean, tarot and astrology. But this discusses, the one is potential and is first level of our root chakra, and then we have force, which is movement, which is our sacral chakra, and then we have form, which is our solar plexus and bringing things at pinnacle of the divine masculine and creation, and then we have will, which is our heart. Love is what motivates us. It gives us our willpower, right? And when we're not receiving it, we can always just pull that in because it's eternally around us. Severity, which is speaking of our throat, and many people right now are going through throat stuff, myself included, because we're being called to speak our truths, as challenging as that might be. And I always say, speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. And that's where we all are right now. And I feel like that's okay. We're figuring it out. And so we're moving from there into truth, which is seeing things clearly with the third eye, the interconnectivity of all of us and all that is, and to go beyond that, which is to give us vision. And then an eight is the lightning path, which is the center. And so in many ways, this represents the portal that we're going through right now. And just like with any birth, there's a constriction. It's going from one place into another, and we're leaving Pisces and going into Aquarius. So I thought it's really important to mention that this pranic tube comes up in many different ways, whether it's in our astrology, 8 being infinite. This is samsara cycles. And 8 means that we are in the cycles of samsara, karmic death and rebirth. And so once we go beyond the 8th is when we break free of karmic death and rebirth. And that's often a choice. Many people who do reach and attain this level of awareness most of them choose to come back and to devote themselves, and some choose to leave. And many Buddhist monks who go this way in meditation, when they're cremated, there's little amber crystals left behind because they're crystalline. They're literally crystalline. They access the crystalline grid and Christos and Christ consciousness. I have an incredible teacher who told me his father he's from Kashmir, and his father was from Kashmir, and a Muslim man who spent 50 years praying to Jesus and Mary every day for 3 hours. This is a man who's dedicated to the Quran. And so the purpose of me bringing up Shaivism and Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism, when we study all of them, they all talk about bringing us to this path of connecting us to our spirit. And so just wanted to share that. If you could put the next slide on as well, please. I'm trying to condense a lot of information that's experienced into words. That's very challenging at times. But so this is what I was just talking about, shadow healing. I was one of those people. I was like, love and light only. And my good shamanic friends were like, yeah, no, it's not all love and light. And I was like, it is. It's all love and light. And, this is what we're here to bring. And I went through many falls myself and through darkness. And what I've realized is the darkness is such an incredible opportunity for transformation and transcending our duality consciousness. As we get humbled, we feel compassion and empathy and understanding and breaking away these layers, this density, this dense energy that we no longer need, this old karmic debris. And so transforming dark into light is a constant dance. We are always on the threshold, standing at the void as light in the dark.
Okay. I think you froze, or I'm froze.
The reason I think it's so important to bring this up right now is because the energy of the planet is going to create many dualistic agendas, as I said, fueled by egoic wounds left unhealed and this karmic debris. So we're going to have to be really patient and really hold on to our faith, during whatever transitions are happening globally, and stay true to our truth, our inner truth. And perhaps practice this opening of the lotus, and I will send a link to Prophet John for some guided meditations on exactly how to use these methods. And they're YouTubes, they're free, and they're absolutely incredible to be able to balance your masculine and feminine. I use this daily. Without it, I don't know if I would have gotten through a lot of what I've been through. Actually, I wouldn't have. and so it's really incredible for balancing the left and right brain, cleansing the blood, cleansing our cellular DNA, cleansing our system, and cleansing old karmic debris. We are at a unique time where our consciousness level is able to move through things very quickly, especially if we're able to forgive ourselves and others and really stay the observer as much as we possibly can in our daily lives, even when our families and everyone else might be driving us crazy, to just remember to center ourselves. And that's part of what we're here to do, is dive into the darkness and bring it back to the light. So I think there's one or two more possibly slides.
No, that was it.
Oh, that was it. Okay, wonderful. So if anyone has questions and answers, I know I try to touch on a lot of different things, and I didn't get to go super deep into any of them, but I just kind of want to bring the connectivity of it all together. But if anyone has any questions, or if you feel that you would like a message, or if you feel like you're needing help moving through some energetical karmic debris or challenges that you need to lift right now, or anything, to be honest, any questions you have, I'm completely open, so please feel free.
See, Gina,
if it's Q&A time, I'm not sure if it
yes,
is.
it is.
John,
It is.
Okay.
Thank you. You did an excellent job. Thank you.
you.
Thank you. This Gina, hands up. Okay. Go ahead, Gina. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry. I was putting the boys to bed. So, wow. I felt like I couldn't breathe there for a minute. Not in a bad way. It just made me realize that I still have a lot of work to do. Coming from a background of having a lot of trauma, and I'm still trying to navigate that every day. But I have two young boys, and I have a 25-year-old daughter. And my concern is what can I do to make sure that, even though I'm still trying to work through a lot of the trauma that I've faced in my lifetime, how can I avoid giving that trauma, or allowing that trauma to affect them, being that I'm still learning and trying to work through these things myself. I don't know if there's maybe an answer to that, or if there's something, I don't know exactly what.
There is in my, I have to say, I'm a single mom of 3, and I was married to a politician, and that was not wonderful, and I won't say anything about that further, but we've gone through extensive trauma, and I truly believe that my trauma has been the source of my awakening, and I believe that trauma is a very difficult thing to heal when we're still experiencing it. So I've had to work through complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and my children have also I had to endure some very, very horrific things that I thought I could protect them from my whole life. And that was sort of my goal and my job, is don't let anything happen to them or them see anything. And I was really humbled. We were brought to our knees as a family, and I had to choose between my awakening, and I'm getting so emotional saying this. I had my
Me
awakening,
too.
and I decided to, regardless of spending 15 years in meditation and having this bliss and just feeling just divine, I knew that my outer surroundings were no longer a vibrational match for who I had become. And I had to say to my ex-husband, you know, I love you and I appreciate you, but you represent for me unhealed emotional childhood trauma and rejection, abandonment wounds, betrayal, all of these things. And I said, I thank you for that, but I can no longer be in a situation that no longer matches where I am. And since then, I have fought every day to be free in a lot of ways. And the hardest thing is to heal our children when we ourselves are in trauma, because of course we're going to transfer it. And you know what I say to my kids sometimes? I go, you know what, guys, I just snapped. I'm so sorry. That was not about you. And we're all in this together. And I'm so sorry, because I know how that feels. And I am grateful to you for bringing up this shadow. And I'm sorry it had to happen this way. But we are the embodiment of our ancestral trauma, and we are here to heal it by experiencing it, because that is the only way. So we can have these spiritual knowing, you know, this knowingness and these epiphanies, but the greater our light, the greater darkness we're called to heal. And I've had many near-death experiences fighting for my truth. And I truly believe that holding on to my faith and my integrity, you know, there was moments where I had escaped. I had $7 in my pocket, 3 kids, and I had no resources, no family, hadn't seen anyone in years. And I felt so isolated. And I got an offer that I knew wouldn't be good for my spirit, for my soul. And so I stuck to my truth. I said, God, I know what you want me to do. And I know you want me to be true to my authenticity and to my spirit. And I don't really buy scratch tickets and things. And I stop at a gas station in the middle of nowhere in California. I'm like, I'm never going to get out of here. I'm trapped, you know. No, it's going to be okay. It'll be fine. And I bought a ticket for, like, with my last, you know, few dollars, and I won enough to take care of my family. And things like that happen every day for 10 months. I lost my home. I lost my business. I lost everything. It took for me to have every identity stripped from me. I lived in the villas in Dubai. I've had the luxury cars and the McMansions, as I like to call them. You know, I'm not saying abundance isn't great. I'm saying it's not worth any cost of happiness when you're dishonoring your truth. So whatever it is we're holding on to, that our full senses of security and our identities, or this idea that, you know, this person that we love, or these communities, or these things that we feel aren't quite gelling with us, as painful as it is to sometimes pull away, we often end up serving those very same communities and individuals by honoring our truth and showing them the way. And we're at a time right now where light workers are being called to say, hey, we're not dragging anyone up the mountain on our backs anymore. We need to go to the top and say, it's okay, you can get here, and I'm going to wait for you here, and it's okay. And so it's really a time of coming into, what do I need? And that's what this Leo full moon was all about. It was about stepping into our truth and our power, and not being so hard on ourselves, especially as parents. And I just, in the last few days, had a group of parents who we've all taken so much pride in our homes, are now just so very authentically sharing whose kids destroyed the house the most. We're not trying to show anyone how wonderful things look anymore. We're just being real, like, hey guys, and how do we manage, and how can we communicate and use language that's conscious so that we don't transfer things? But to answer your other question, which was, how do we not transfer this on? Well, we work with them, of course, but what my teacher taught me, and what I feel is a very powerful tool, is as we heal ourselves, they no longer have the need. So if you think damage has been done, and of course there's always damage done to everyone, even there could be the one moment our child needed us most, we're like, sorry, I'm on the phone. And we don't know what's happening inside of them. And it could be another time where they really, really don't really want us around. And we're really like, oh, so we're not perfect. We are here to embody, both light and dark, because that's how we transform it. And this is where we start becoming really compassionate. And instead of looking at what we're doing wrong or right, looking at what's not feeling right and how we can find solutions to that. And I will say that your trauma is your greatest superpower. Yeah. I have had people try to do horrific things, and actually who have done horrific things to me. And I now thank them and say, because of you, I awakened. Mm-hmm. And I faced my fears. And on a soul level, I forgive them. And I understand that these are just what I needed to experience to be the healer I need to be for those who come to me and for my family and my ancestry, and to bring awareness to my kids who question me constantly and are far more conscious than I am, and are definitely the evolved version of me in many ways. But I say, I was born first this time around, so I'm going to lay the groundwork, and we need to learn some boundaries. But absolutely, your truth is valid, and I honor that. However, I am holding space as a unit, and boundaries make children feel mm-hmm. safe. And so it's finding that balance between allowing them to be authentic, keeping boundaries, holding ourselves accountable to show them how to hold themselves accountable, and doing it together with love.
Amen.
Thank you so very much. I'm truly honored to have been on this session with you.
Thank you. I'm honored as well that there's another mom on here who's going on the journey too. So,
yes.
Sorry, losing the camera. Thank you so much, Gina.
Thank you, Tiffany.
All right, let's go to the next question. We'll try to get through as many as we can. Yourself now.
Okay, you were talking about fear and how it's what a great hindrance it is. And I come from a place where they use fear to control you and to scare you and to chastise you when I was coming up. And so that just put like a lot of fear in me. I think it was like, I was about 38 before I even realized I had some type of a gift. And so now I feel like I moved like from fear to like some type, I still have this apprehension. What's your suggestion and, for a healing process, further healing and going deeper, because that's where I want to go.
Thank you. I'm so honored to hear that from you, because I have so much reverence for you as an incredible intuitive and healer. And you've gone places on me that I just was like, wow, no one's even picked up on. So thank you. I think this is really a really important question, because this is what we're constantly faced with, is we do have a physical body, and we do have a part of us that is bringing to our awareness when we're not safe. And it can sometimes come through as an anxiety or an intuitive feeling. And so it's becoming the conscious observer of it and exploring where it's coming from, because I still have fear programs. I come from fear often at moments, and I just pause and go, why is this coming up? Why do I feel this way? And can I observe it? But the difficult thing with fear is we come so much into the body, but this is exactly what we need to experience to bring even more light. And so I think it's a continuous journey, because regardless if we've awakened and transcended the concepts of duality and dark and light, we absolutely are asked every day to participate with that and to be the dance between the two. And because we are spirit standing at the threshold of the void, we're constantly facing darkness. And so sometimes fear is a mechanism for alerting us to take note. Either it's a trigger and going in on a cellular level and feeling where in the body it's located. Where is it coming up? Is it the heart? Is it the sacrum? Is it the spine? And really exploring those root chakra systems. For example, our sense of security, our tribe and our family, our money. Right now, there's so much suppression happening economically and in many other ways that it's really affecting people's root chakras, and our sense of security and safety. I'm not saying that's, for everyone, of course, but as a global energy that's there, it is being brought to awareness, and we look at that in our own bodies, right? So creating our own sense of safety as creators, we manifest, and so it is. And we can recognize in those fear moments what is coming up and what it is our body needs in that moment.
He speaks what?
Light language.
Okay.
And
There's Ron raising his hand.
is it possible? No.
Did you have something that you've done maybe when you were trying to find the view in the gallery or something? Just be patient, everyone. We want a clear message. Okay, speak.
You really are the embodiment of the divine masculine and feminine, and have had to really hold space. You're a master. I feel like you're a master teacher at this. You're incredibly empathic, incredibly sensitive, and embody both aspects. And I feel that you are going through some major transformation and release work as an empath. You've taken on a lot, and you're sort of clearing the way. But I feel that you're going to be teaching some very, very important practices that are going to be coming through you, especially coming year, because you have this incredible balance that you're able to achieve and hold space for the masculine and feminine within others, and to continue to be an open channel. Don't question yourself so much, just trust. As you already know, you are an incredibly divine messenger. I feel that. And you hold a very, very sacred, balanced energy that will assist many in transforming a lot of pain. And you carry pain very well and transform pain very well. And you don't say anything about it, and people don't know about it. But wow, I just wanted to say you're doing the inner work, and I think after some lots of time for yourself, you are going a little bit of time for yourself. Enjoy it right now, and really take this time to cleanse and cleanse and cleanse, and just hold boundaries. You'll get to them all soon, but this is you time. So just wanted to share that. Did you have any questions?
Thank you so much for that. I never I heard of the term empath, and I did feel like I slightly resonated with it, as I've always been very sensitive person. And there was a time period in my life where I was very negative type, very, I felt hurt many times, and I have learned, that just that everything happens in a way to I've learned to accept everything that has happened, and because I just wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for everything that's happened. And it's also interesting because as of recently, I have had a little bit of an interest in the I've always had this interest, but I've been looking into it particularly recently, of the masculine, feminine aspects of God the Creator. As of recently, and I found some interesting things with that, and thank you. I'm honored and very humbled by that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
All right, I see another hand that's up. Lit, you can unmute yourself.
Uh, well, I just resonated with the message that she was saying when she was saying someone shaved their head. I used to have long locks and I shaved my head. And I definitely know I speak in light languages as well. And just a lot of what she taught on tonight, I've experienced a lot of it, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
Kundalini.
Right.
And
Pause for a second, please. Thank you.
yeah.
Do you have a message for him?
I do. I'm
Okay,
so emotional
great,
watching him.
excellent. So
Just
let her give you a message. Okay.
I
Okay.
feel you were a very significant individual. I know this is out there, but I'm saying it because it's coming through. So it is what it is for whoever it brushes the wrong way. But an Egyptian, like a Egyptian
Exactly.
priest, and I
Mhm.
that your DNA has some pretty remarkable levels of consciousness due to the fact that your ancestors can go all the way back up to Egypt, and that there is some significance not only in your bloodline but on your ancestral and karmic energetic timeline, so to speak. And so you are bringing forth the power of the sun, the power of your heritage, the power of your ancestral wisdom. And this you're a leader. You are
Mhm.
here empowering, holding accountability, and bringing forth your power and doing it unapologetically. And that is what you are here to do, and to own your ancient sacred birthright. And that DNA you hold, that has information in it that when you bring light through it, oh my, you're channeling, you're having experiences. I highly recommend you, even if you can, go there, whether it's astral or in person, however you feel you need to, because you can unlock some very, very ancient and very, very sacred information when it comes to Egypt. So we need a chat.
Mhm.
I don't know if that resonates with
Yeah,
you.
we do.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
gonna be a long one too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You're spot on. And yes, I have had some very powerful experiences with um,
Mhm.
Kundalini energy, and just like, especially when it came to like,
Mhm.
when I was studying the Emerald tablets, and like my experiences with Thoth,
Mhm.
and just a lot of different things. So yes, we definitely will talk, and I greatly appreciate the lesson you gave tonight and the message that you gave me just now. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's why I had to stop you so that you could hear her. All right.
You knew there was a mess. You could see it in my face or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew that. Okay. There is a few other people that there's a word that's for, and I feel that you have at least a few others, and I I don't want to pull them out myself, but I
I'm
feel that you can, even though you might can't see them, but you can feel and feel them. I
let's each person come through because there's so much energy
Okay.
right now. I think if we can, I could try to bring some concise answers if that's okay, and we can just kind of try and fit everybody in if possible. Is that
I'm
possible?
sorry. You can try to do what? Repeat
Do you
that.
think we can fit everybody in that has a question? And I will
Okay.
try to.
And you have a
Possible.
message also for a couple, but and we'll get to that because that's what I'm hearing, that there's something that's being revealed. But okay, so anyone else that has a question, quickly raise your hand. Okay, there is Blair, and we're gonna get to the
Before
answer
I go on
quickly.
to that, what you're talking about is to do with twin flame energy. And yes, there are some people who have gone on that journey and or are on that journey in this
Hmm.
group.
Hmm.
And I can explore that a little bit for those who resonate with that. But Blair, yes.
And we're gonna get right to the point, and then
Okay.
we can get other questions in. Go ahead, Blair.
Um, Thank you for your message this evening. It really spoke to me. And I just wanted to ask you, like, about like tarot cards and like, what are your suggestions on like reading, like learning and beginning to read those, and also like, could we contact you for a reading?
Absolutely. I would be happy to send in my email and my number in a link through for John when he sends this transmission. So absolutely, yes. And I'm actually also going to be doing some tarot classes coming up. I had done them before COVID in person, and now I think we can do them all over. But Tarot of the Spirit is pretty great. She does do a card deck, but there are so many different decks, and I'm going to tell you my absolute favorite. And the reason why I use these, I just love them. I know Doreen Virtue's out of the, scene a bit, but these are the angel and archangel tarot deck. And so I prefer to use them. They've got a beautiful on the back. And so, I would suggest feeling into it and really feeling what resonates with you. I like angel cards. I just love the vibration they feel, and I feel like it brings another element by having the archangels in the major arcana. For example, Archangel Michael and the Ascension card, the World card, and it talks about all the elements being in place. So I like that, but you can choose any you like. But when it comes to studying tarot, I would say stay away from anything that's dualistic or overly overly dualistic, because the truth about the tarot is it's just like planets and expressions. There is a higher expression and a lower expression. For example, people are scared of tarot because there's the death card. That means transformation, that means resurrection, and we all go through death and rebirth cycles consistently. Even women, we go through that at least once a month in a physical way, and emotional ways as well. We're constantly dying and being reborn, but we do have pivotal moments in our life that are extremely transformative and represent the Tower, and that is often a card that gets people to stay away from it. So I would say don't be fearful, and just be open to a deck that really resonates with you. But this book I highly recommend. Highly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be talking about possibly maybe March or so, doing a special class, with that. We were already kind of like in the planning stages. And so, but maybe have you lead that class, we'll see. And we'll all join together and just collaborate, whatever, on with that. But I think that'll be fun. I see Ron hand is up, and I think that'd be just great. Ron, you can unmute yourself. And in case, well, do you have a message? Do you feel anything for him before he starts to talk, or he may have a question or something?
Oh, are we talking about Ron?
Yeah, yes, this is Ron again.
Okay.
Tiffany,
I do, Ron, I'm sorry to give David his first because it was coming through.
That's fine. I was going to say, if you swipe your phone, you might be able to see everyone. Swipe it.
Swipe your phone. Okay, that's good.
I can see you now. Yes. Ron, now that we're just, thank you for that. That's very helpful. As we know, I'm technologically quite challenged in general, but so thank you. And for you, I feel like you've had to do an incredible amount of healing on the patriarchal side, the father healing side, within yourself, and done a lot of transformative work. I also think that your light language has something to do with regenerative coding, and by listening and speaking your light language, you are redesigning the I feel like saying redesigning the format of your DNA blueprints through bringing sound into the body, because you've had to transform an incredible amount of of trauma there. And so I would say, I feel like you're going to really be bringing it to the forefront more and more, stepping into your power and in really beautiful ways, and not being afraid of that, because you are the divine masculine, and the world needs the divine masculine more than ever right now. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
All
Bless
right. Good to see you, Ron. Good to miss you.
What about?
Okay, I see a white cloud. Oh, did you say white cloud? Okay. All right.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I feel honored to be in the presence of your spirit. I feel that you are an incredible soul who does an incredible amount of inner work. You are a warrior spirit, and you've been called to do a lot of ancestral healing. You have a lot of ancestral wisdom within you, and you're going to be called on in many ways to be a warrior of the light. And I think you're feeling a sense of the calling. Do not have fear. You have so much assistance with you, and I think you feel the ancestral power behind you. I feel that you have definitely been born for a very, very special reason, and that you bring forth some absolutely incredible information in terms of land healing, something to do with land healing, working with fire and water, working elements, and connecting to ancestral wisdom, because you have the higher conscious awareness to be able to remember and access things in a very powerful way. And you bring this through in a very strong way, and you've had to be very strong in order to guard that which is sacred within you. I feel a very important thing for you is dance, movement, music, and dance are very important ways for you to channel the incredible amount of energy that comes through you. Even exercise, movement, music, anything that's going to activate your and heal your sacral, because you're bringing a lot of unhealed stuff from the root chakra up through, and you are a divine channel for, like, this kundalini that many of us are experiencing and feeling in different ways. And I feel like you're having a great sense of calling right now, like a great sense of calling, and you're kind of figuring out what that is, but just please trust in the flow, because you are an absolute powerhouse, and you are unstoppable. So doing what you're doing and exploring and movement is very, very important for you right now, to move stuck energy.
Wow, thanks. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. I did have a question, but you just came on pretty strong there, and now I'm kind of like, I don't know about my question.
Go ahead. Okay.
That answered.
Well, see, like me, like, obviously I'm, if you know me, that you know that I'm learning my culture, right? So something caught my attention. I was on the highway and my phone died. That's why I was off for a bit, but I'm home now. But anyways, something you said earlier is interesting to me, because I've heard things, not in particular, like nothing in detail about the white horse, but I've heard about the white horse, and I was just wondering, where did how did you come to know about the white horse in terms of my Native American people, I'll say, and then how did you align that with Pegasus? It's pretty cool, It's kind of complex.
Well, you
question,
missed the
so
class last week, I believe, and that's where it was
I
discussed. And
yeah.
and you can answer that quickly, the very short version of how you learn about that, Tiffany, please. Thank you. Extreme short.
So there's someone who is called Sun Bear, and my mother gave me a book, and I will find exactly which book was. I didn't even read the whole book. I actually only read that section because I'm lazy like that sometimes. And I told, my mom, okay, yeah, I'll read it. And I just opened it on that. So how ironic, but I need to read more deeply into that book because I love his writing. That's how I found out about it. And the connection I made was to do with some of, my own experiences, and then hearing Prophet John talking about Pegasus and looking at multiple mystical references in all the ancient cultures I've come across referring to this. And the white horse is the ultimate freedom. It represents purity, freedom, and a messenger from the divine that's very powerful on earth. So that's how I found out about it. And I didn't know you were Native American. That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that you're learning about your culture. So I will send you some of the writings of Sun Bear that I have, as well as that book that I have yet to complete. And now I'm even more intrigued and want to complete. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
White
you.
Cloud.
Thank you, John. Love you.
Love you more.
No, I love you more.
Okay, the most then.
Love it.
All right. Anybody else got a question? Okay, quickly raise your hand.
Leslie.
Leslie. Okay. Where is Leslie? Leslie, can you raise your hand so I can see you, or if it's not already raised, let me find you. Oh, there it is. No, the icon hand. But that's
So
okay.
I'm going to get started. Leslie, I feel like you have Earth Angel energy. I believe you also have connections to intergalactic, possibly a lot of information regarding that. I don't know if that resonates with you much, but I feel that you have come far ahead of your time. When I talk about star seeds and I talk about these young children coming in now, they have us to hold space for. You came ahead of your time, and as a highly sensitive being, wasn't born into indigo light worker situations so much. And so I just wanted to thank you because of beings like you who laid the foreground by doing the inner work on yourself and transforming your matter and clearing away so much karmic debris. You are a way shower, and you are a guide, and you are a sage. And I just wanted to thank you because when I was looking at you, I just saw these wings, and I just was like, she is an earth angel. She didn't come here because of karma. She came here because out of a duty, out of a sense of deep, deep love. And you took on a lot of karma. You didn't have to. So I just want to thank you on behalf of a collective for all that you do, what you connect to as well. So thank you. Really deeply.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Leslie. That's awesome word. Awesome word. Anybody else? Okay.
Patricia Turpin, do you have also Native American shamanic ancestry? Because I feel your ancestors coming through predominantly as strong female, and I see a group of women coming together during sacred time, and there's this drum beating, and it's like all of this is coming up. So much is coming up through you. You've been healing debris your whole life, and this shamanic brings up and heals so much other karmic debris and ancestral. There was some strange, I don't know what it is, some strange marriages or strange match back in some way. It was so you form particular ancestral DNA and ignited with an incredible amount of this Native American, but specifically feminine wisdom, shamanic, feminine, very ancient wisdom. And that Shakti, that very primal, very ancient Native American energy. And I feel that you've got that just the strength and the soft and this ability to the divine feminine without being overbearing, but to be able to bring this softness and strength at the same time. But you are absolutely a powerhouse channeler, healer, medicine worker, and you have got some really very ancient roots in the Native American way, right? A big thing for you has been healing with sisterhood and healing the feminine in yourself and having to heal the feminine and heal a lot of pain, a lot of ancestral trauma, as I feel it. You know, you've really done a lot to heal sisterhood and the feminine, and your ancestors are helping you with that very much right now. I see a lot of Native American sisters around you, and they are your biggest supporters. So lean on them when you need to, because they are there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so very much. That's from my mother's side of the family, my great grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
My mother, who is Cherokee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
And you have recently been involved in learning the ways.
Yes.
And she's been
Yes.
doing a lot of saging and circles and sweats and many other things. And so you see all this around her. That's where she's been quite a bit for the last maybe year, close to
Close to a year.
a year. She's been in
Love to
that community.
more of that. That would be just incredible. So yes, that just sounds amazing.
Thank you so very much. I'm so encouraged. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okay. I just love it when things like that happen.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Anything else? Anyone else?
Anyone else? Any questions that they would like
Any
to?
questions? Okay, speak now or forever or hold your peace.
Does Rose have any questions in terms of working with Kundalini Shakti energy and bringing that in? You having some experiences with spine and body that have been significant recently? I can't see you. I don't know what you look like. I'm sorry. Rose?
Hey, Rose.
Rose Sweat? Cueto? I don't know how to say your last.
It's it's Mama Rosa up in British Columbia. Winnipeg. Let's see.
Oh, talk about the
Can you
divine.
unmute yourself? Okay.
Hi.
Can you unmute yourself? Okay. Hello.
So Rose, it's okay. It's all right. I'm just going to share the message for now. She go into it. Do you have this ability to go into certain trance-like states? Something to do with plant, working a lot with plants, plant medicine, or something to do with merging the body and the mind in working with plant medicine.
Lately, a year ago, I had seizure. I lost my left eye vision.
Okay, Mama Rosa. Okay,
Yeah?
she's asking about something else. She's asking
No, it's okay.
about the ability to go into. We want to just kind of like stay a little bit focused more, so we can get to other people also. Okay, and so the less information that you give her that's not related to what she's talking about, that'd be great. But so yes, you ask about trance and things like that. The answer would be yes to that. That she's a spiritist and she channels, but she's sometimes a little bit reluctant, and I've been trying to push her forward because she's very powerful. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
Yeah. Asha Mama energy, and whenever we experience loss, as difficult as it is, we're given a gift. And so as you know, as a healer and as a shamanic spiritual god, really, you might have gone through this, but your other gifts are being enhanced, and most of the work you do is really just bringing in transmission, bringing in energy into the earth, pulling it down, spending a lot of time on your own. But it's also important that you start getting out there and sharing your wisdom and sharing your presence. But I understand that you love to be by yourself, and this is powerful. And I feel like this, you know, it's like almost like thunder power energy in terms of how much, you know, comes through you, very much through the body. But to become more aware of your need to spread out, and a lot of a need for more fresh air, and bringing in the ability to receive, because you represent this Pasha Mama, this powerful, nurturing, loving, giving, beautiful energy. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, as the divine feminine heals, you need to learn how to receive. And this is a very, very, very important time for you to learn how to receive without guilt or apologies, because this is what Pasha Mama, this is what the earth, this is what she needs of us in the feminine right now to do, is to honor that. And you are an incredibly powerful, I feel like you move a lot of energy, and just continue to, literally, when I say trance, it's like you're transferring from spirit into the earth, from the earth into the spirit. You're just constantly transmuting pain on the behalf of the feminine. And you're very focused on your work. You know, you're having an incredibly internal experience, but it's also a rite of passage to allow yourself to be adored and cared for, and to receive in the way that you deserve to, in order to heal the feminine within. But thank you for the beautiful messages and the energy work you do on behalf of our entire planet, in all directions of time and space. Really, I feel you transmuting a lot of pain, hurt, and anger, and this is the work that we're here to do. So thank you.
Thank you.